Hello, and thank you so much for tuning into Whole Body Talk, a show in which we explore what it means to transform and heal ourselves on physical, nutritional, emotional, psychological, and spiritual levels. I'm your host, Paulina Smith. I'm a holistic fitness trainer, and you can learn more about my work at www.mywholebody.us. Again, it's mywholebody.us. And Whole Body Talk airs live every Tuesday from 12 to 12:45 on FCC Free Radio, and then is made into an iTunes podcast, which you can find by searching on iTunes for Whole Body, one word, Whole Body Talk. So today I'm very excited to be talking with Satcy Butcher. Satcy is a certified 5Rhythms dance teacher and also a transformational energy and body worker. And you can learn more about Satcy's work at www.stacybutcher.com. It's STACYBUTCHER.com, stacybutcher.com. So Satcy, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
It's awesome to have you. Satcy, 5Rhythms. What is that exactly?
Good question. So, it's a map, it's a movement practice. It's really a movement meditation practice that was developed by Gabrielle Roth, who lives in New York. And it works with what are called the 5 rhythms, and I like to call them 5 energies. I mean, the name of the practice is 5 rhythms, but people kind of go, but there's more than 5 rhythms. It's like, and really what they are energies in our lives, right? So there's, just to name them, there's flowing, staccato, chaos, lyrical, and stillness. And what it is through movement, we go through these different energies, and they're energies that we actually go through in our lives. You know, and it's based on, like Gabrielle has done research on various, tribal dances and things, and this is something that I think she found is a very common thread, right, were these energies. And you can find them anywhere in your life, like flowing's very, sometimes we're very go with the flow, and our life is very fluid, and staccato is much more about manifestation and clarity, and chaos is, it's interesting to talk about it in words and not move it. Usually I'm like moving chaos. It. Can you see this out there? So chaos is kind of self-explanatory in the word, but the rhythm itself, the energy is about letting go. Right? And then moving into lyrical, it's lighter, and it's really the place of letting go of letting go. I think of it as the place, like after you have a good cry, that kind of like that lightness that happens, right? And then stillness is coming back to stillness, coming back to your breath. It's really kind of the integration of all those energies, right? So we work in this practice with those different energies and really embody them so we can move in our life more easily through those rhythms when they happen, right? So when chaos comes in our lives, like, can we stay in our bodies and move with it without it letting us, knocking us over? And, so it's a real, even though we do this practice on the dance floor, it's very applicable to everyday life. I can, in any situation, can probably put it in terms of the 5 rhythms.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. It's beautiful.
You can watch the rhythms of our conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
On a practical level, Satcy, I'm curious if someone's totally unfamiliar with this practice, what does it look like on the dance floor?
Right. It's not a form, like there's no steps or no, you don't have to be a great dancer. It's like, I'd like to call it movement, because it really is just about your body moving authentically. So how does each rhythm move you, right? So it looks like dance, but it really is, like when people come, there's music that's guiding them, but it's really a practice of staying grounded in what's happening. How is this music moving me? What's happening on the dance floor when I'm in relationship with someone, when I'm alone, so it's really, like when someone new comes, I basically tell them there's nothing to know,
Yeah.
And to really just ride the wave, let your body, because our body knows these energies. So when someone comes in new, it might look a little weird, like, whoa, what are people doing? And some people have dance training, so they look more, quote unquote, beautiful dancers. It's really about just coming in and moving what you've got, Yeah.
I'm curious to see what originally brought you to the practice.
Yeah, it's interesting, I was thinking about that this morning. At the time I started, I was much more into meditation, like Vipassana meditation. I worked at Spirit Rock for 5 years and was doing a lot of retreats and deep meditation. It's a beautiful practice that I still continue. And then I started, actually it was a teacher at Spirit Rock was doing movement and meditation together, like not with music, but just gentle. And it just kind of started to open up something in me. And then I started exploring. I took some classes here. There's lots of 5 Rhythms classes, and I was scared. I could barely move the first time. I was like, she's like, okay, move your hips. I'm like, what? But by the end of the class, I really found something that opened up in me.
Wow.
And what I found as I went more and more, I started going weekly, and I found that this practice, I learned so much more about my life. Like I really had to face myself a little more. Like when you do meditation, right, it's very calming, but then when you step off the cushion and you go into everyday life, like it does influence, but it can be
More
a much
subtle.
more of a contrast, right? Whereas when you're moving, you really see your patterns on the dance floor.
Interesting.
And the movement actually can help transform them and help you really move through things more easily. So that's where I got hooked. It was like, wow, like I really saw the transformational aspect of it.
If you don't mind sharing, Satcy, are there ways that really stand out in your life that you noticed started to shift?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely became much more open to other people. Like, when I first started dancing, I'd go and I'd dance and I'd leave,
Yeah.
And as I started, it's like, there are other people in the room. And, definitely became more, and more open to me, and who I am. And like, oh yeah, that's my pattern, but and see it shifts. It definitely gave me more spaciousness around myself and my life and others. And, yeah, it's definitely more spaciousness in my everyday life. Yeah, rather than just like, when I go to this meditation retreat, it's more spacious. But, definitely more open. And physically, too. I feel like my body's in much better shape and more flexible and moves in more fluid ways than it did before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you come from a formal dance training yourself?
Not at all. Actually, it's funny, I think about the first time I went someone actually took me to some, I think it was like a barefoot boogie or something, and years ago, and I was not moving. Like, of course, nobody can see again, like what I'm doing, but I was very tight. We called it the football dancer. We're in high school, and the football guys, they dance like this. They're just like, really tight.
Yeah.
I think my arms never went above my head unless I was drawing, right?
Wow.
So I remember that first time just going, oh my God, I can't move like these people. And now my friend who took me just laughs, like, do you remember when I took you to that thing?
Well, it's so interesting to hear, Satcy, because having been in your workshop and seen you move, that you are such an incredible mover and dancer.
Oh,
I was like, oh yeah, Satcy grew up dancing. And
yeah, no. I was a cheerleader. I don't know if that counts, but.
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it really is a testament to how much it opens up your body. And yeah.
I'm curious, Satcy, what inspired you then to go through the training with Gabrielle?
Yeah, I was really, it's hard to pinpoint it. It's like I just kept following my heart somehow. And I remember going to my first workshop with a teacher named Andrea Juhan, and there was just, after that I was just like, I want to teach this. And I definitely questioned it along the way, as I would move towards it. There's a lot of work that you have to do to be a 5Rhythms teacher. Like, Gabrielle really has you do a lot of prerequisites and do your inner work before you can actually stand up and teach people, right? So it's a long road. And I thought, but I just kept following my heart. Like, I love this practice, and just was doing the workshops that I needed to do anyways. And, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, I'm filling out my application for the,
Here I am.
Oh my God, now I got accepted. Oh my God, now I'm on a plane to New York. And so it just really, I kept just going with the energy of it, and I don't regret it at all. Yeah, it's been a great journey. Yeah.
And what was it like to learn from Gabrielle herself?
It's great, and I feel really fortunate. We really, Gabrielle's an amazing teacher, and she, before our training, we didn't know if she was actually going to be our teacher, because she had been very ill. and she really came through it, but we got to see Gabrielle, right, in this much more vulnerable place. So it was so beautiful, you know, because she's very strong and very shamanic, you know, and also just was so expansive, and you know, she has so much wisdom. Of the way she reads people on the floor is just, it's incredible. You know, I really appreciate it more now as a teacher, you know, her gifts in that way. And yeah, and it was beautiful to, you know, get to know her better and be in her, follow in her footsteps, you know. Yeah, so it's great.